Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're looking at a 10-year-old video by the YouTuber Chris Stuckmann. In this video we will be covering certain points he makes during his review of The Phantom Menace. I will only be covering points I disagreed with, nothing else. Let's get into the video.
As you watch the movie, I challenge you to figure out who the main character of this movie is. You can't. It's not Qui-Gon, it's not Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it's not Anakin. Who's the main character of this movie? Liam Neeson gets top billing, so maybe Qui-Gon is? In a way, it almost seems like Qui-Gon's the main character of the movie, but why would you do that? Who the hell is Qui-Gon? He's an older, stern Jedi who is really stern and what exactly is his character, actually?
Why is Luke Skywalker the protagonist of A New Hope? He's just a boring character who lives on a moisture farm. If you oversimplify these characters and act like there is nothing to them, you can make the exact same argument for characters in the original trilogy. A protagonist is mainly defined as the character the story mainly follows, the leading character. In this case, it would be Qui-Gon, as Qui-Gon is the character the story of The Phantom Menace mainly follows. His actions greatly impact the plot of the film. As for Qui-Gon's character, Chris and others who pair at Red Letter Media pretend as if they can't find anything to say about Qui-Gon's character. Frankly, I don't believe them. The movie spells out his character for you. Qui-Gon is a wise but stern Jedi who follows the will of the Force, one of the few Jedi who goes against the Council. Even with that very simple breakdown of his character, it is a much better breakdown of his character than the one Chris presents us.
When the Jedi walk out and go, zup, 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 and everything's just done, that's cool. They're badasses. They're in their prime. We know. We understand. That excuse has been made for many years, but that doesn't mean the movie's going to have any more suspense or tension that it could have in that action, because everything looks so well choreographed and there's not even a lick of fear on their faces. They don't look concerned at all.
Although I don't show that part, he does go on to talk about how the movie looks dated, which I do agree with. The Phantom Menace does look dated. However, he then goes on to talk about the Jedi and them not having fear on their faces. What? He's talking about the same Jedi who are trained to control their fear and suppress their more negative emotions. Okay? I mean, I guess.
So the overall plot of this movie is that the Trade Federation want to invade, and Palpatine wants Queen Amidala to sign a peace treaty, somehow making all of this work out for him in a way, and he wants her to move for a vote of no confidence on Chancellor Valorum so that he can then replace him in power and do his evil stuff in the background. And yes, there's a large portion of this movie dedicated to this.
He gives a pretty good description of Palpatine's plan. However, he then goes on to dumb down Palpatine's plan to prop up Return of the Jedi, which I find kind of annoying. You don't need to trash on The Phantom Menace to prop up a movie within the OT. It just comes off as really disingenuous.
In the original trilogy, the Emperor's plan was to turn father against son, use Vader to entice Luke to join the dark side. This is an emotional, internal battle, and the Emperor did all of that behind the scenes in such clever ways. In this film, his evil scheme is he really wants Queen Amidala to sign a paper. Ooh.
Chris, 20 seconds ago, you described this plan with a better understanding than most people who parroted RLM. Why are you all of a sudden acting like his entire plan is about getting Padme to sign a piece of paper? You know what the quote-unquote paper is and why she can't sign it. Not only would signing the treaty legalize the invasion of Naboo, but it will also give the Trade Federation control of Naboo. The Trade Federation invasion might have failed, but Palpatine still became Chancellor.
Now after this amazing teaser poster, we were all really pumped to see what Anakin Skywalker was going to be like. And George Lucas apparently saw Jingle All the Way and said, yeah, that kid, that's who we need.
The classic Anakin isn't the way I wanted him to be, so he's a bad character. Whatever.
And just when he thought that the Star Wars saga couldn't get any more confusing, George Lucas decided to introduce Midi-chlorians into the mix. That's right. Apparently everyone just has little microscopic organisms floating around the inside of their bodies, and whoever listens to them correctly can understand the Force. It's not a mystical thing that binds us together with everyone in the galaxy, it's just these little organisms that live inside our body.
Even though the movie spells it out for you, Chris has a weird understanding of midi-chlorians. The film literally explains what they are.
I heard Yoda talking about midi-chlorians. I've been wondering, what are midi-chlorians?
Midi-chlorians are a microscopic life form that resides within all living cells.
They live inside me.
Inside your cells, yes. And we are symbionts with them.
Symbionts?
Life forms living together for mutual advantage. Without the midi-chlorians, life could not exist, and we would have no knowledge of the Force.
Qui-Gon never says the Midi-chlorians are the Force, just that they are something that resides in all living things. The Midi-chlorians do not take away from the mysticism of the Force. If anything, they are an extension of what Obi-Wan says during A New Hope.
The Force is what gives the Jedi his power. It's an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds us, penetrates us, it binds the galaxy together.
As Obi-Wan stated in the original film, the Force resides in all living things. This is where the Midi-chlorians come into play.
Nearly every single shot in the pod race is from the right-hand perspective of the pods, and I would say about 80% of the shots are panning from left to right. Pan from left to right. Left to right. Left to right. Left to right, left to right, left to right, left to right. If you think I'm showing the same shot over and over again, I'm not. These are all different shots. For some reason, Lucas never thought to put the camera on the other side of the pods. So you don't get a well-rounded view of this race, and it becomes very stale because you're constantly seeing the same movement happen. Left to right. Left to right, over and over again. I can't believe I never noticed this. I mean, yeah, there are shots like from straight on or from straight behind or a first person shot, but I think there are maybe 1 or 2 shots that are actually on the left-hand side. It's nuts! I never noticed this before. The entire scene feels stale to me now, and I'm sorry if I ruined it for anybody.
Chris's nitpicky tangent about the camera moving from left to right is just as I described it, a nitpick. He talks about the other camera angles yet still marks it against the film, complaining about the lack of shots from the left-hand side. It is just a very weird thing to focus on. He could have focused on anything else, yet complains about the movement from the camera not being from the left side.
So once these characters finally get to Coruscant and go to the Jedi Council, and we get to see Yoda and Mace Windu and all of these people, and Qui-Gon is trying to convince them that Anakin's got something special about him and they need to train him. The inclusion of a humorless, witless, dry-ass, boring Yoda was an awful idea.
A boring Yoda? What? You want a wise Jedi to make a humorous comment during a serious conversation? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Anakin is the one who will eventually bring balance to the Force. This is the prophecy and here's the boy. Yet every single person on this council is like, he's too old. We don't like him. Go away. Just no, he's not going to be trained. Shut up. The Jedis in this movie are dicks.
Yes, of course. The Jedi are dicks because they don't want to train a child who has already formed attachments. Attachments, the thing the Jedi are supposed to avoid? Right, okay, that makes them dicks.
I'm serious, when you actually watch this movie and you hear about them constantly saying the Sith menace and the mystery of the Sith, and Qui-Gon, you should go out and do something about that, and they just sit around in a room and go, yeah. That's all they do in the movie. They don't actually do anything. Finally, in Attack of the Clones, they got like 1,000 Jedi just in a room just fighting shit. Where were they when Darth Maul was cutting people in half?
The Jedi weren't even supposed to be in the conflict to begin with. Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan were sent in secret by Chancellor Valorum. This was stated in the crawl before the movie started. They were not needed in the film.
But something about that scene always bothered me. He's got a child-sized helmet in the cockpit. Now, can you imagine how much better of a scene it would have been if he had to wear an adult-sized helmet and it didn't fit and he had to try to see out of it? It would have been fun. It would have made the scene more entertaining if he actually had to try to fit into an adult helmet. But no, he has the convenient child-sized helmet just there for some reason.
The helmet doesn't even fit Anakin. What are you talking about?
So the best character in the whole movie gets cut in half after Qui-Gon Jinn dies and says, you have to train the boy. Please, it's my dying wish. Please train the boy. He will bring balance. So Obi-Wan is then forced to train Anakin even though he doesn't want to. And apparently Yoda's fine with it all of a sudden. He's like, agree with you, the council does. But you just, 20 minutes ago said no. What changed?
Obi-Wan was not forced to train Anakin. He trains Anakin because he wanted to honor his master's dying wish. Yoda agrees with Obi-Wan because he was going to train Anakin whether the council agreed to it or not.
It's just kind of stupid that Obi-Wan is forced to train Anakin. In all honesty, Qui-Gon Jinn shouldn't have even been in this movie. It should have just been Obi-Wan Kenobi. He finds Anakin because they're supposed to be friends. Nothing in The Phantom Menace is, hey, Obi-Wan and Anakin. It's just like, hey, you're a kid and I'm on a ship complaining about the weather and blah, blah, blah. And that's it.
That's kind of the point. This isn't a movie about Obi-Wan and Anakin becoming friends. Without Qui-Gon, the entire movie changes. It wouldn't make sense. The Phantom Menace is about Anakin joining the Order, about Anakin being found on Tatooine, about Obi-Wan meeting Anakin and eventually becoming the friends they are in episode 2 and 3. Well, anyway, that's it for me. I covered everything I wanted to cover. I hope you enjoyed the video regardless of my sound quality. I'm on CapCut after all. But yeah, I'll see y'all in the next video.